is it? No, he's still going. Oh, how about that? How about that?
Carried on into the penalty area. Here he is. And then Giroud. What a goal. Brilliantly worked. Fantastically finished.
Well, here's Ramsey. And Alexis Sanchez. Great footwork. 3-0. Liverpool blown away. A 3-goal, 8-minute Arsenal blast. Alexis blocked by Newcastle defender. Still not clear. Wow, what a volley. Where others failed, Ozil has succeeded. Well done, Arteta. Plenty of it here. Yes! Arsenal have their breakthrough. Mikel Arteta. They deserve it. Oh, they're behind again. It's amazing. It's Aaron Ramsey. That's the response of Arsenal. Iwobi, nicely done. Brilliantly done. Bayer in, Walcott. Sensational Arsenal goal. Is that a handball? No. Nothing the play can do. Great, what a goal! Arsenal have made it 3-0. Jack Wilshere with an absolute thunderbolt.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are listening. How are you? I'm Tez. You can get me at Gooner Tez on Twitter, and this is the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. You get the podcast at the Clock and Talk. My throat's a little bit husky this morning. It's like 7 a.m. here. I've had a couple of coffees, and Tez usually takes a little bit of time to wake up. But we are discussing the show, yesterday's game. Villarreal, Arsenal, Europa League, where's that leave us? I'm not going to be overly negative. I'm trying to keep a bit of a positive, skin on things here because, we are deep into the competition now and we move forward. So we may touch on a few rumours that are heading around and on ownership. I don't know if them rumours are up in the air. And this morning I woke up to some messages about some social media protest or something. But anyway, I'm still getting my head around that because that must have been last night or something. But before we get that, I'll introduce Tony. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Been 24 hours since the game, so I had time to properly reflect and just here, carrying the pod as usual.
What's this? Just quickly, because I've only heard it coming through now. It must have happened last night when I was asleep. Social media protest, is it, or something?
Well, not yeah. I mean, it's been discussed for a while, and I think most people committed to it about a week, 10 days ago, or most clubs. That basically every club, I think it was in the Premier League, and then people like the Premier League said they're coming off Twitter from 3 p.m. today, which was about 9 hours ago, until midnight on Monday. So for 3 days and a bit, in protest because, I mean, it's mainly aimed at Twitter as far as I know, but they're coming off all social media in protest that the social media companies aren't doing anything about racist abuse and stuff. So obviously we know at the moment anyone can sign up on an anonymous account, be as racist as possible, and then the worst that happens is that account might be suspended after 12 hours, and by that time the damage is done. Everyone's seen all the messages and especially the people it's aimed at. You know what I mean? When players are called racist things or whatever, they've seen it. So and the authorities, the footballing authorities, think that Twitter and Instagram aren't doing enough. So it started with the clubs all said that they're going to come off for, as I said, 3 and a bit days, and then loads of others have followed. So now you've got obviously players were involved. When clubs done it, all the players said they would do it, and then journalists are doing it, and basically most blue ticks pretty much within football are doing it, as far as I know. That they're just not tweeting or putting anything on Instagram, as I said, between 9 hours ago and midnight, which is an hour and 45 minutes on Monday. So 3 days from now.
Yep. Do you think it'll have much of an impact, or would it be great if a couple of massive celebrity blue ticks got involved as well?
Well, look, I mean, Thierry Henry started it about 2 weeks ago when he completely came off Twitter. I don't know about Instagram because I don't follow any footballers or whatnot on Instagram, but on Twitter about 2 weeks ago, Omri just announced they're not doing enough, and I'm off it until it's fixed. The only way this can work for me, because it is only 3 days, 3 and a bit days, is I think what they're hoping is that Twitter and Instagram see that their ad revenue is down, that their interactions are down, because obviously now there's no one interacting with football teams and football players, and so they lose a bit of money and they lose a bit of an audience, and they realised, okay, we need to sort this out. If this is just a one-off, it isn't going to achieve anything. But unless, as I said, the social media companies sort something out, I hope it works, and I can see the thinking behind it. But how much do they really care? I mean, in an ideal world, they'd be able to create their own social media platform and take everything off social media. But then anything where people are allowed to comment, there's going to be abuse. And we spoke about it before. For me, the only way around it is verified signups. But for whatever reason, the social media companies are hesitant to do that, and here we are. So I don't know. I hope it works, but I'm skeptical, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Schwinn must be floating around. He's on YouTube because I think he was doing a little bit of Twitter ban, and I don't want to talk out of school here, but I don't think Schwinn's was much to do with much at all. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bit of and I think this is the problem, is that they're banning, like, our account got banned, you know, our other Clock and Talk account, because of an influence on a poll. Like, but yet some bloke behind some fucking cartoon picture or something can get away and say whatever he wants, and that account goes. It is crazy. It is so crazy. But I don't know what the answer is.
Well, I mean, but this shows how wrong their algorithms are, because people can call people the worst derogatory terms. But as you said, we got done for me saying, I can't remember who the player was, but let's say it was Tierney. Tierney got man of the match, but what do you think? And that because I said it was Tierney, they said I was influencing a poll. But I mean, also, it was my own poll, so surely I should be allowed to influence it anyway. It wasn't like I was trying to influence a fucking general election. And then Schwinn's got, I mean, Schwinn is horrendously racist, but his tweet was along the lines of, I think it was, someone should get a spanking for that, as in talking about the Arsenal performance or Arteta's lineup, something along those lines. And he gets a 12-hour ban. So, and look, that's not a person seeing that. That's an algorithm that's pretty much banning the word spanking by the looks of things. But how can you allow N-words? Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So how can it be an algorithm that is fine, and spanking isn't? I mean, there's all of these words, there's got to be some context with them, because whether you agree with it or not, in a lot of music, that the N word is used. So you can't just blanket ban the N use, because anyone typing lyrics will now be banned from Twitter. The same with spanking. I dare say there's a lot of specialist people who spanking is a very fine word to use. Like, you know, I mean, it should have never be banned anyway. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. But just an algorithm isn't fit to judge these things. Maybe an algorithm could pick them up, and then a human looks at the context. But an algorithm alone will never work.
Well, with our account, I even emailed them and said, you know, like, what's the go? And I presume that goes to a human. And they said, oh, no, we stand by it. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I mean, R1. I mean, I'm not just saying it because it was us. R1 is the dumbest I've ever heard. But here we are. I mean, Schwinn's is pretty stupid. As I said, if you can't get by with saying the word spanking, then I mean, they say the world has freedom of speech.
He's read spanking in the comments, and I'm hesitant to put it up on the screen because we'll probably get banned. No, he has says Arteta deserves a spanking.
Yeah, I think that was the tweet, or the tweet was along those lines, and as I said, he got a 12-hour ban.
Fucking crazy, isn't that crazy? Oh, well, look, hats off to Arsenal and everybody else who's following this little 3-day protest, and good luck, because I hope it changes. And look, whether it does, I don't know, but whether it has an impact on Twitter and social media, I don't know either. So hats off to them, I guess. They're kind of, you know, they are leading. Well, Henry's Thierry Henry's basically leading it. But football, I wonder, like, we're in a football world, so we know it. But I wonder those who aren't in a football world probably wouldn't even notice it, I guess. But yeah.
No, but I mean, there's so many interactions. Like, you think every time, say, Arsenal put out a tweet, you're probably looking at 300 comments minimum. Like, even if the tweet's about nothing, there'll be 300 comments. Most of them bullshit. Probably at least 100 retweets just for anything. So
Yeah.
that's just one post. That's a hell of a lot of interaction. And bear in mind, everyone is playing at least once over this weekend. So say Man United maybe get a bit more interaction than us. Liverpool probably around the same sort of level. So that's thousands and thousands, millions of impressions that Twitter are losing out on. And if that affects their ad revenue, then they may sit up and take notice. But it can't just be do it once for 4 days and then go back to normal, because it needs to change. But who knows?
Yeah, it is. Roberto, how are you, buddy? He says, hello, chaps, and it's silly. I think he's talking about the... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's talking about Arsenal's playing silly, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's get into this game. Schwinn said it. He wasn't happy with the lineup, and he's in the comments there. Let us know your thoughts, Tony, on that lineup.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I'm not going to spank anyone, especially a middle-aged man. I'll leave that to Schwinn and what he's got to do. But I agree with the sentiment. The lineup was just didn't make sense. Like, it's a huge game, and you're trying something out and like, he's trying to be too clever. And basically in every year of the last four, when Man City have got deep into the Champions League, Guardiola's tried to be too clever, and it's cost them every time. And I don't know if Arteta was maybe worried because he thought Emery knew so much about these players. Bear in mind, I think it was 9 of the players that started that played under Emery. Was it even 10? So Partey, and was there anyone else?
Pablo, no.
Odegaard,
yes.
It was 9. Partey and Odegaard. Yeah. So bearing in mind 9 of them. So I don't know if he was trying to be too clever. I mean, even when we saw the lineups, people assumed it was Pepe up top, and I mean, that's not ideal. He's someone that, yes, he's quick, but he likes the ball at his feet. And then but to be fair, we had Freddie Ljungberg as a pundit in the studio, and as soon as he saw the lineup, he went, "It'll be Emil up front." He said he's quick, he's powerful. But I mean, again, that's not where you want Smith Rowe. He's not a number 9. And if you say, but he's going to be a false 9, but then you need players out wide that are going to tuck in and get the goals. And as I said, I think he just tried to be too clever. The Granit thing, a lot of people are moaning at Granit at left back, but that's one I think we knew was going to happen. And
yeah, I kind of knew that in myself. Yeah,
and it's very easy to disagree with it after it happened, and people say, "Oh, I would have disagreed with it before." And personally, I would start Cedric at left back, but I'm not as mad about that one because it was like we've been doing it the last few weeks. It hasn't gone bad. So, but I mean, the attacking was stupid, and then
I'll be honest. I know the lineup. Like, I know we should obviously try and, how you say, predict a lineup, but we don't do a preview pod. But I actually was not surprised. I thought Leno may have got switched for Matt Ryan, and no, not because yeah, I know, but that last week, it was a massive error, and I thought, I wonder whether he gets a little slap on the wrist for it. But no, that didn't happen either. So
he might not play Sunday. There was no way he was going to be dropped for the Europa League. But yeah, I mean, again, like, I know Danny's done half okay recently, but I mean, our press was terrible, and leaving him against Foyth. I'm not saying Foyth's good. I mean, we made him look good, but Danny's not quick enough. So you don't want. Danny's getting a lot of stick, and deservedly so. But I actually felt a bit sorry for him at times because he was asked to press on the touchline. Like, he's not a winger. Your centre midfielder should, regardless of Danny's abilities, your centre midfielder should not be out there. How many? I can remember maybe one time in the game where I saw Partey that wide on the other side. So Danny just shouldn't be in that position. As I said, it all just stunk of Arteta trying to be too clever. And as I said, I don't know if that's because he was worried that Emery knows too much about us, or he was just trying to be a smart ass. But it wasn't good from Arteta. It really wasn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I'm not gonna get hung up too much. Like, we're gonna just cruise over this game. We'll talk about, obviously the second leg, but I don't want. Look, everyone knows the result. We lost the game. Tony, I'm going to touch on the two goals against us first. Tell us your thoughts on that first one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes from a lot of the point I've just mentioned. Our press was wrong all night. Well, especially for the first half, anyway. The press was wrong. It ended up with Danny being on the touchline, which is not somewhere you ever want him for multiple reasons. Foyce beat him for pace, and again, you can dislike Danny all you want, and I'm not saying I'm a fan of him, but we know he can't run. So don't put him in positions where you have to do that. If you know someone can't do something, don't make them, because he's not going to improve since the other day, something he's never been able to do his whole life. He's not going to wake up that morning and be Usain Bolt. He's still going to be a very slow Danny Ceballos. So, I mean, it comes from that. We pressed all wrong. Foyce beats him. And then, to be fair, I think we got a bit unlucky because they got Chukwueze one-on-one with Xhaka, but then we doubled up and it basically got the ball off him, and unluckily it fell for Trigueros, is his name.
Yep.
Look, I've got a massive bee in my bonnet about Odegaard. I think our fans are massively, massively overrating him, and I've said it on here many times. He is so lazy for the goal, and I'm not saying he could have done anything about it, but I've just not seen it mentioned that he was standing next to Trigueros, whatever his name is, and the Trigueros walks off it. Look, if someone outruns you and is just quicker than you, you've got to say, you know what, I couldn't catch them. But Trigueros walks off him and ends up with a free shot. And again, I wouldn't mind if Odegaard had gone to mark someone else, but Odegaard's standing 5 yards away from him doing nothing. And I know he's not defensive minded, but you can't just let a guy walk off you. As I said, if they beat you for pace and power, you go, hands up. Like, I can't do anything about that. But when someone just walks off you, I'm like, what are you? Like, again, it's not his fault, but just he's become immune from criticism, which is annoying me because I really don't think he's that good.
I thought we were a little bit unlucky, to be honest. I didn't sit there and go, like a clear and obvious error. I didn't think a clear and obvious. I just thought it was.
No, I mean the big error was the press. I mean, again, it's not you. I mean, the amount of times that press will get beaten, you'll get away with that. Is quite often, but that doesn't mean you can excuse it. But you're right. There's no big glaring "what the fuck have you just done there" error.
Yeah. Talk us through the second goal.
Oh my god! I mean, we had a few times where our defending in the middle of the goal was a joke. Obviously, the corners come in.
Yep.
I'm not entirely sure who's meant to be marking Gerard Moreno, and bear in mind he's their top scorer, arguably their best player. I know he's not the biggest threat from corners, but you think someone would have been detailed of watch this guy. He's tricky, got good movement. He gets a free header in the 6-yard box. No one around him. Like,
no one's on him.
There was no one. I don't even know who to blame because there was no one close to him. That's how bad it was.
I was like you. I was thinking, well, who should be there? I agree.
The only. I mean, maybe it's a bit harsh, and again, maybe it's because I don't rate him. But I wish Leno wouldn't be glued to his line at corners because that ball was inside the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you, and Addy, I thought might have been on, and I was going to say, should Leno be the one type of attacking that ball to stop the header?
But look, it's not Leno's man for sure. So
no, I know that. Yeah,
but should he be attacking the ball? For me, I would like to see him come for that. For me, if the ball's in the 6-yard box, unless it goes like really deep to the back end of the 6-yard box or really short to the front of the 6-yard box, that's sort of a keeper's zone, and you come and take everything. And then as well at the back post, at Partey and someone else, Albiol ran off 2 players. I didn't see who the second one was because the mistake was more Partey. I mean, yeah, it's a mistake, but it's hard to react to them second balls when someone's got a free header in the middle of the goal inside the 6-yard box. Your initial thought isn't shit, what's going on behind me? It maybe go onto the line if you can, or get the second ball, or shit, how has he got that chance? So I've seen a lot of people giving Partey a lot of stick for it, and for me, that's not it's as I said, the error, and I'm not putting it on a single person, is giving a guy a free header inside the 6-yard box. I don't think Partey. I mean, as I said, he is to blame, but it's not the big error.
Yeah. No, look, it was for me. It was once again. It was that was exactly as you said it. The guy in the middle. You know, he should have been. That header shouldn't have happened. Really, like nobody was there, and I don't know whose job it was there, but to be there.
Another
But,
thing.
yeah,
Well, what we messed up as well, and again, this comes from Arteta's team selection, and I've not really seen anyone comment on it, but most teams, and we do it as well, puts their striker as the first man from a corner.
yeah,
I think we started doing it by accident, basically, because of Giroud was so good in the air, but we still do it with Aubameyang, we still do it with Lacazette. Because we didn't have a striker, Mari ended up doing that job, which you want your centre defenders and your best headers of ball attacking the ball. So that space where Moreno was is where your centre back should be. But because Mari had to move over, I think Mari moved over and then no one took his place. And again, I can't put that on the person, but I think if as stupid as it sounds, if Aubameyang, Lacazette are playing, one of them, that goal probably doesn't happen.
Yeah, you could be right there. Could be right. I'm going to move on to, well, just quickly, I want to talk about Ceballos. We had the red card, Ceballos with the 2 yellows. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the first one was as an obviously yellow as you're going to get. He had to do it. I don't think it was a bad yellow. He was just getting beat for pace down that side all night, and they had a chance. They were already 2-0 up. I think it was on the stroke of half time, and they're breaking, and it would have been 4-on-3 or something. So he had to take the booking. It's one of them, for me, it goes down as a good booking. Just because of it wasn't working, he should have gone off at half time, which was, for me, a mistake by Arteta. And then he made a foul about 20 seconds into the second half. And it was never a booking, but when you're on a booking and then you've made a foul and their players are putting pressure on the ref, for me, again, he should have already been off the pitch. And by that time, you should see that tackle and be like, just get him off now. And then the actual one he got sent off for, I think it's a bit unlucky, to be honest. He gets the ball, and then as he's planting his foot, it lands on the player. I'm not sure. If he's left his foot in, then it's a booking. I'm not entirely sure if he has. I can see why the ref's booking. I'm not saying it's a disgraceful decision and should never have been a yellow, but I think it's probably a bit harsh. But then, as I said, when you've had that one just before that, it makes it a hell of a lot easier for the ref to give. I thought the ref had a really bad game, actually. And again, not a biased game, because we're going to go on to our goal, which I thought was a joke of a decision as well. I thought the ref on a whole had a really bad game, and he was being influenced too much.
Just to clear some, and I even asked the question as well. So he's out for the next game.
Yeah,
because they don't come in. Them cards aren't nothing to do with the Premier League.
It's competition specific. Well, European specific. So if it's in the final, then you've been banned for the next Champions League game. But
I agree. So I thought the second was a bit unlucky. Ceballos was. It's hard. I don't want to say poor, but I really felt for him a little bit. Like, I just thought, and I've seen the criticism, and my reactionary, I was like, fuck, like Ceballos, like every Arsenal fan. Now I've had a bit of time to reflect. I actually, and look at the way the lineup was and what he was asked to do, I kind of feel a bit for him, because I think it was just you're asking way too much from him to do what you wanted him to do. I don't, and for me, that has to go on to the manager. For
me, it's a bit of both, because for me, it's a bit of both. Again, as I said it from the top, he was asked to do something that he can't do, but then also he let that get to him. He was sloppy on the ball, and then, as I said, he left his foot in a few times. And they might not have been fouls, but you're walking a tightrope, so just don't give the ref a chance. As I said, I think the one he actually got sent off for was a bit unlucky, but just as I said, if you're leaving your foot in and you're standing on a tightrope, at some point you're going to get blown off.
Mm-hmm. Talk us through our goal, mate. I think this is a very, very important goal, and I'm so glad and so happy we got it.
Huge. Well, we missed it before. There is only one reason we are still in this tie, and that is Unai Emery. I would say I can't believe he took a striker off and put a holding midfielder on at half time. I can believe it because I saw him do it 3 billion times for us. Honestly, that game, this should be over. We should be here fuming, talking about how shit we are, and we can't believe we lost 5-0.
Yeah.
Like that. I couldn't, as I said, I would say I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but I've seen it so many times that I have to believe it. Just baffling. Allowed us back into the game, allowed us a bit of a foothold, and you think had they stayed how they were and we'd gone down to 10 men, because they made some chances at 2-0 as well because they had so much space. But they now had only one real attacker because Chikenze was playing really wide. So then Moreno was basically there on his own, whereas had Alcacer still been there, I'm almost certain they would have scored at least one more. And then at 3-0, we'd have sunk and obviously been down to 10 men. And yeah, I could have seen 4 and 5 coming, to be honest. So this is arguably, and obviously we're still not favourites to reach the final, but this is arguably the best thing Emery's done for us. It's just absolute shithouse managing. But yeah, anyway, suited us. And then our goal.
You loved to pull that on out, didn't you?
Well, no, it's the only reason we are still in this game. And I'm just going to say it because I know people think I give him a lot of stick unfairly. At 2-0, Leno made a save that keeps us in the tie from Moreno. Huge save in the context of things. It's not a worldie. It's a good save. It's a very good save, and that keeps us in the tie. So credit where it's due. I'm not a fan, but as I said, when someone does good, I'll always give them credit for it, whether I like them or not. And good save, and the reason we're still in the tie. Then we get a penalty, which is a joke. Like, it's just not a penalty. I'm not moaning. I want them 100 times out of 100 if it's an Arsenal player, but it's what I mean. I've always called a Robert Pires penalty. It's more recently sort of been a Jamie Vardy or a Harry Kane penalty, where Saka's running and he puts his right leg out of his natural running path to make sure it gets hit. As soon as the ref gives it, it's never going to be overturned because there was contact there. But for me, it's Saka making contact with their guy, and I've not really seen many people question it, which I've been surprised at. But for me, it's never a penalty. But as I said, I'll take them 100 times out of 100, and if we get one in the last minute next week and score it and win 1-0, I'll cheer as much as anyone and as much as any goal I've ever cheered, I think. But it's a fucking horrible decision.
Oh, it's one of them. Like you say, you just take it and just put your head down, your hand over your head, and just slowly walk away. Like it's happy days. I agree with you. I thought, wow, it was a bit soft. If it was against us, I would have been spewing. So he gets it, Pepe. He gets the goal. Happy days.
Yeah, do you know what's weird? I think under Unai he took one penalty, and he went down the middle against Villa at home. Yeah. So as he was lining up, all I was thinking, and I know Pepe's never missed a penalty for us, and I know the season we signed him, he had a craze, like obviously the year before, I think he'd scored something like 9 penalties. So I know his penalty record's good and it's been good for us. But I was just sitting looking at TV thinking, don't go down the middle. Because as I said, you're one when Emery was with us. That? And I think it's the only one that he's gone down the middle. I may be wrong on that, but I think it's the only one since he's been at us that he's gone down the middle. But obviously he did and he scored. So yeah, fair play, well done. Yeah. But the one thing I was shouting don't do is the thing that worked. So what do I know?
Look, I seen a lot of negativity after this game. I'm just trying to think if there is anything else we talk about before we move on. Just
because it goes with my propaganda. it comes as absolutely no surprise to me we got better after Odegaard left the pitch.
Oh yeah, we did. We did actually. Yeah, yeah.
He's neat and tidy and it looks nice, but he doesn't really do any. Look, barring the West Ham game, and I said at the time, if he was as good as he was in that West Ham game, Real Madrid don't let him go out on loan. That day he was world class and he starts for any team in the world. That day, the way he played. The Odegaard that day gets in a Man City team, it gets in a PSG team, it gets in any Real Madrid, Barcelona, whatever team you can name. But apart from that, what we've seen from him is he gets the ball, doesn't particularly create much, gives it nicely to someone else. Like I remember when we was having this discussion before, and most people thought I was wrong, and they maybe still do. And my simple question was, name me a proper chance he's created. Not the stats where it tells you he created 3 chances yesterday, which is bollocks. Because if you ask anyone to name them, no one can name any of them. Like, so I'm not talking about what the numbers tell you. I'm talking about actually knowing football, what football tells you. When I asked someone who was saying he was great, aside from the West Ham game, name me a chance he's created. And there was very slim pickings. There was 1 or 2, but it's been like, 15 games? Like, just, for me, he just doesn't do enough. He keeps the ball nice. He's not a threat to the defenders most of the time, as I said, apart from that West Ham game. And if he can find that West Ham level consistently, then he's one of the best players in the world, and I generally mean that. But what we've seen is a guy that keeps the ball but isn't really threatening.
MAA Gunner, he agrees with you. Same happened when he played against Everton.
For me, we are a better team when he's not in it. And I said this from day one, and I remember you fuckers disagreeing with me. We've got a player that, for me, is better, younger, and our own in Smith Rowe. So when we're shifting Smith Rowe all over the place to fit Odegaard at 10, for me, that is just plain wrong for all of the reasons. As I said, Smith Rowe is going to be ours next season. We know that. Odegaard, maybe not, probably not. Smith Rowe is younger, so more room to grow. And as I said, for me, he's just better. But others won't agree with that. So,
couple of subs were made. Well, look, I'm gonna just quickly. They got a bloke red card. Well, yellow, 2 yellows, red, and he went off. Was this the referee just having a bad day, you think, or?
No, I thought there too.
There too was pretty
clear as you're going to get, really. I mean, one of them I don't really like to. So the one on Pepe was a flailing arm when he had control of the ball, and it's one of them. If Pepe doesn't go down, the ref plays on. He doesn't give a free kick. Pepe goes down, holding space and screaming, and he gives a yellow. And that's not criticising Pepe. That's the way football is. I don't really like them yellow cards, but that's the way modern football is. It's obviously Lamela got sent off against us for Tottenham for doing the same on Tierney. So I'm not picking on any player. I don't really like that they're yellow cards. As I said, if a player tries to hand someone off and it gets a yellow card, I don't really like it. The second one is as obvious as yellow as you're going to get. He was stupid because Saka saw him come in, knew he only had to move the ball, and Capu was coming in so quick that was all that was going to happen. I did think the ref was 2 yellow card happy throughout the game. I mean, Aubameyang got one in stoppage time, which for me was a fucking joke. It doesn't matter, but it was just stupid. It was his first tackle. He clearly slipped. Even if he didn't slip and just done that, there was no malicious intent in it. There was just nothing. It was a foul, but just nothing in it. And I mean, there was a few things the ref done. There was one time where I think when Foyth got injured, they were attacking. He played on. We turned over the ball, and he blew the whistle. And it's like, what are you doing? They didn't pull it out, and they've already got it's 11v10 at this point. So they had the spare man anyway. Now suddenly when you even it up, the ball's in play and you want to blow the whistle. And just before that, Smith Rowe had got fouled. Well, I think everyone thought it was a foul. It was obviously a foul. The ref didn't give it. Smith Rowe stayed down and he's played on. So when it's 11v9, he didn't feel the need to blow up because there's a player on the floor injured. But the moment, and again, I'm not saying he was biased, he was just shit. Like the moment there was one of their players down, it was fine when they had the ball. But the moment they lost it, it was like, oh, blow up, he needs treatment. And it was like, it's done his hamstring. Like, don't get me wrong, we all knew he was going to come off, but it's not like it's a fuck. We need medical attention instantly. It's a hamstring. Like we see one a week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 10 minutes to go. It's 10 on 10. Well, you if 5 minutes of your stoppage time as well. Martinelli's on for Odegaard. Aubameyang comes on. Saka goes off. At this point, I'm like, yeah, he's going for it, but was Saka the right bloke to take off? And no disrespect to Smith Rowe, but I think he played out. You know, he didn't have the greatest game due to I think he played out of position. I was kind of thinking, well, maybe you take Smith Rowe off, bring Aubameyang on, and just move it around, the formations around a little bit. Because for me, Saka and Pepe are you're playing your full attack then.
Yeah, I think he just wanted pace in behind. So Saka's quick, but he doesn't run in behind too much. Whereas if you look who we had on the pitch at that point, it was Martinelli, Pepe, Aubameyang, and Smith Rowe, who are all good at running in behind. I think the idea was if we need to defend, we can defend deep and just pump it long, and then we've got 4 runners essentially. So I think, I mean, look, I'm not saying Pepe is a better player, but he's certainly better at running in behind than Saka, and quicker. And then, as I said, Gabby's on the other side, and you got Aubameyang through the middle. So I see the thinking in it. I wouldn't have been, had it been Smith Rowe instead of Saka, I wouldn't have been mad. I think you can make a case for either.
Yeah,
I can see what he's thinking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I just when I was watching, I thought, oh, let's go for it. But yeah, I like Saka on the pitch too. I think he offers you a bit more. That's all. Last couple of subs, 5 minutes ago, William did come on, El Neni come on, for Smith Rowe at this stage, and we're probably just winding the clock down, happy with the 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had a corner in the 95th minute, and there was 5 put on the board, so it was the last 30 seconds, and he's made the subs, and Twitter was going mad about it, and I was just like, who cares? Like, do you know what I mean? They're nothing subs, and as you said, they might need to wait time a little bit. There's just nothing in them, and I feel like I say this a lot. There is a lot of genuine reasons why people can criticize Arteta, and I'll never deny there isn't. But stick to the genuine reasons. Don't start going, but he subbed El Neni on in the 95th minute, and that's like, what are you on about?
It's quite funny, isn't it? I was thinking the same myself, and for me, they're just nothing subs. You're just winding the clock down, and you're walking away with a 2-1. For me, it was like, and I see now that you explain that thinking behind it, but at the 80th minute, I'm like, we've got to go for it, but we don't want to leave ourselves too open as well. So
I'll be honest, the moment at any point in that second half, if you'd have given me 2-1 and said the game's done, I'd have taken it. Even after our goal, even when it went 10v10, I was still thinking I'll take 2-1 because I thought they just looked more dangerous than us, to be honest, in my opinion. And as I said, I was, for me, we should have lost that game 3-4, 5-0. So to get out of there with 2-1, I was not going to say delighted because I'm never delighted to lose, but I was happy to hear the final whistle. I mean, obviously, the icing on the cake would have been if the Aubameyang chance went in, which obviously it didn't. But yeah, I mean, for me, 2-1. As I said, I'd have taken 2-1 the moment we scored the penalty. The moment they went down to 10 men, I would have still said, if ref blow the whistle now, if you want, like, we're all right. But yeah.
No, happy, mate. No, I'm happy. We take them on, and look, it's going to be a tough ask, but now we're back to pretty much level. We need to not concede in the second, because if we do concede, that's a real worry for me. Because then they get the away goal, and I'm like, shit, that we've basically got to score 2.
Well, it's not going 1-0 down. Look, obviously, you don't want to concede, but if you go 1-0 up and you concede, like, it's not the end of the world. You just need another goal unless you concede in the 90th minute. But if you're again, ideally you don't want to concede, but it's not the end of the world, as I said, especially if you're leading. Look, it's a tough tie.
If they score 1, we have to score 3.
Well, 2 takes it to extra time.
2, yeah.
But it's look, I mean, my relief comes from we shouldn't be in this tie. This should be done and dusted. Like I know you don't want me to bring this up. The other semi is done and dusted. Man United are in the final, right?
Yeah.
We should already know that it's Man United versus Villarreal, and we don't. There's still that doubt. And that, for me, we don't deserve to have that. And because we've still got it, I'm happy. And as I said, that's not me saying
absolutely.
I'm happy we lost. It's me saying I'm happy that we've still got a chance to go to the final when we really shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, I agree, and I'm happy we've got that. So we get up next week, or I get up early next week, and for the next time, I go. You know, it's worth me getting up. Basically, is what I'm saying. If we're down 3 or 4-1, like it probably should have been, even 5, I wouldn't have even turned the TV on next week. I wouldn't have even bothered. Like, I wouldn't be on a podcast now next week talking about a game that we lose or that we're out of the Europa League, because at the end of the day, I couldn't be bothered. I just, so now I've got a bit of hope. I've got a little bit of, let's go. I'm excited for this. I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff, they're riding Arteta off and they're this and that. And I'm like, you know what? We're in it, boys. We're in it. We've still got a chance, and I'm happy there for that. As for Roma, I'm not even going to flick that one on. I'm not even going to turn it over to see what the score is. That's about us, man. I think, I just wanted to discuss about the game, which we did. We discussed about next week. Where are you at? Do you think we can beat them at home and beat them well?
I don't know. I don't think they looked fantastic yesterday. I thought it was more us being bad. But my hope is that Emery tries to keep it 0-0 because that's what he does. He's very pragmatic. And I think if you let us have the ball for 90 minutes and we can be a bit carefree defensively, then we will score, I think, if that's how they play. We need KT back.
Yeah,
desperately. Aubameyang, I don't know how fit he is. I think we definitely need. It's a weird one because we definitely need a striker. If that only option is Eddie, then do we need a striker? I'm not sure. I mean, Gabby's got to be ahead of Eddie if it comes to that. But I think even if Arteta said yesterday after the game that Aubameyang isn't physically fit enough to play more than he played, which was about 15 minutes. So you hope with an extra week, even if you can only get a half from him, it's got to be the first half. And to try and run them ragged and create space. For me, I think, as I said, KT's huge. We don't know if he's going to be fit. I think he will be, or he's got to be risked, even if he's do you know what I mean? If you're not sure, risk him because we've got nothing else to play for.
That's right. Yeah,
get KT
I'm just
back
going to add, if he's not fit for me, and I'm going to openly say it now, right? I want Cedric at left back, whether that happens, and I want Granite and a Granite Party midfield for me.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I agree. I think a Granite Party midfield's got to happen regardless, and it'll be interesting to see what he does this weekend against Newcastle because no one really cares about the game. It'll be interesting to see how he lines up there because I don't expect KT to play, but if he goes Cedric, then at least it's like trialing him out for Thursday. But for me, as I say, KT's huge. Look, I think we need to go 4-2-3-1. Unfortunately, he's gonna play Odegaard. I think it'd be very, very harsh to drop Pepe at the moment. So I would expect to see a back four. The back four is interesting. Does Luiz come back in?
Yeah.
Probably. Well, for me, probably. I'd play him Sunday and see if he's fit enough. And if he is, I think I'd go Luiz in. Partey, Xhaka said he's going to play Odegaard, Saka right, Pepe left, and Aubameyang up top if fitness allows, I think. But then saying that, we don't know about Lacazette either. He wasn't fit enough to be on the bench.
Isn't it? A hamstring.
Yeah, but he travelled. So Arsenal took a full training group. He wasn't on the bench, but they took a full training group. So imagine he's not a million miles away because if you're only in the gym doing rehab, they wouldn't bother fly you to Villarreal. Same as KT. He wasn't on the bench, but he's been back training. And as I said, if you're just doing stretching, well, okay, do stretching at home, save yourself the trip.
Yeah. I've got a couple of comments and questions that I will just go through quickly. Schwinn did say we're talking about players under who played under Emery. A couple of boys said Murray, MAA says only 8, not 9 played under Emery.
You're still
he
talking
also
70% of the team.
Yeah, that's right. He said also, shouldn't Pepe have been covering for Granite, not Ceballos?
Well, this is where we got the press wrong, because I'm not sure if it's because we didn't have a striker, and Odegaard always sits on the deepest midfielder, which does need to happen against them because Danny Parejo is very good on the ball. But Pepe pushed on one, so he was on the centre backs. It was like a free press in, Smith Rowe, Saka, and Pepe, and then Danny shifts over to the left to cover for the fullback. That was, as I said, it's where we got the press wrong. So in theory, yes, it should be Pepe, but that wasn't the way we tried to do things. It wasn't anyone being out of position. What happened was what was supposed to happen. Just what we was supposed to happen was a very bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Hakon Larson, how worrying was this for Arteta? It's an European semi-final, and that what he managed to get out of the players was their share of the blame as well. But why does something new in so important game? Why do something new in important game? Yeah.
I can't answer that.
It's nobody can, and it's just, it is bizarre. It really is bizarre. I agree with Hakon. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, he obviously thought it was going to work, but like, why not give it a try against Everton on last week because he can't have known if that was going to. He might have had an idea, and maybe I can half see where he's coming from. Not really, but let's pretend. But surely you've got to go into what is the biggest game we've got left, knowing that something can work, not it could be good if it works. And frankly, I can't see how it could work, to be honest.
I know. I'm hearing you. It's bizarre.
It's a weird one, because you get some teams, and it's like the defenders hate not having anyone to mark, and they really struggle. We used to struggle with it loads when the defenders essentially had nothing to do. But I think the problem with that is our wingers were too wide. So then there was no, and Smith Rowe he can run in behind, but the reason he's good at running in behind is because it's unexpected. It's like a completely different type of player, but Frank Lampard was a great goal scorer because he came in late when no one was expecting it. If you'd have played Frank Lampard up front, he'd have been shit, because the defenders would have been like, "Oh, I'll just mark Frank Lampard."
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Smith Rowe. He's running in behind is good because he's not supposed to run in behind. Do you know what I mean? No one's expecting it, and then suddenly he comes out of nowhere and he's very quick. When the defenders, they're like, okay, I've just got to worry about this guy running in behind. It's easy to deal with because you just drop 5 yards off him and go with him when he goes. Like, the reason deep runs are good is because the defenders are occupied on, say, an Aubameyang, and then Smith Rowe comes from deep and they don't know, oh, do I stay with Aubameyang? Do I follow chase this guy? And by the time they've thought about that, Smith Rowe's already gone. And then it's very difficult to catch him. Whereas when they don't have that other player to worry about, it's just like, well, I'll just go with that guy that's running. Like, it's easy.
My problem is with this, though, and as yesterday, like, for me, you've got to have Granite and Partey there for even Smith Rowe to try and be effective if you're going to play him up front, because the man is kind of, Ceballos and Odegaard, nothing against them, but they're not really giving him them balls. And I know Smith Rowe's playing out of position too, and it's probably not his, it's a tough ask. It really is. But it was almost like he had to get Ceballos and Odegaard on the field. So he'll shuffle whatever it was, any other player, to get them two on the field. And I just...
Well, I mean, this is not so much with Ceballos, because we know Granite, it plays in the middle if people are fit. But this is my problem with Odegaard. I really don't think he makes us better, unless, as I said, he has one of them exceptional games. But you can't rely on them because they don't happen often enough. And I feel that we're taking players out of the team. on what is a what if with Odegaard, because if he doesn't play, it'd be but what if he performs like West Ham? But instead, when that's happened once in 15 games or whatever it is, for me, I would rather not rely on the what if and take players out of the team. And as I said, it's especially when Smith Rowe's ours and he's younger. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
I really
don't
don't.
get it.
But as I said, look, maybe I'm in the minority because I know most of our fans think Odegaard's some form of god. So maybe I'm looking at it wrong. But it ain't, without being too big-headed, it ain't often I'm wrong. Like, I'm wrong, of course. Everyone gets things wrong, but it fucking ain't often.
But Granite's not giving you them balls from left back. You know, like he's not reaching a Smith Rowe running onto anything from left back.
Well, no, I mean, but the idea is the ball goes into Odegaard and he creates chances. As I said, my problem with him is
he doesn't.
He doesn't. Yeah. As I said, someone will pull up a stat that's based on numbers that tells you, on the chances created stat, he's our top player since this, that, and the other. But as I said, when you ask people to tell, I read a stat yesterday that he created 3 chances in the first half. But we didn't have 3 chances in the whole game. What are you on about? I know one of them was the shot where he rolled it into Saka really wide, and then Saka cut in and killed someone 30 miles away because his shot was so off target. And that was one of the apparent chances created. But I'm like, as I said, the stat is if you pass the ball to someone and they have a shot, that you've created a chance. Like, so you could roll the ball to someone on the halfway line who spanks it 400 miles over the stadium, and they go, he's created that chance. This is why I say, don't look at the stats created chance. Tell me a chance he's created where your eyes tell you he's created a chance. Because I think another one of the chances he created, I'm not sure if it was him, but the one where someone rolled it back to Partey and he was playing rugby and smashed it for 3 points. That's not a chance. You know what I mean? There's not a chance created rolling the ball to someone 30 yards out. Like, there's just, come on. Like, there's got to be a better way of measuring this stat than fucking if someone has a shot. And on the flip side of that, you can roll it through to someone and give them an open goal and they missed the ball. And then because they didn't actually have a shot, it doesn't go down as a chance created. Like, that stat is just silly. So it really annoys me when people use it. I'd actually rather hear about XG than fucking chances created, to be honest.
Couple other ones. Hakon said, obviously talking about Ceballos. Why the fuck are we playing him? And Toby said, discuss what that was, that game, basically. So we've done that. I just going back in because MWA had a couple more. A lot of people complaining about a false 9. Aubameyang and Lacazette weren't fit. Martinelli has played twice there in the League Cup. No one rates Eddie. And I agree here. Balogun has never started a senior game, but no, I don't agree. I was thinking, why was he? I was thinking he was leaning towards Balogun there to start, but yeah. So he's basically justifying a Smith Rowe starting up top, I guess.
Yeah, look, for me, I'd rather Martinelli.
I get his point.
I don't agree. I can see where he's coming from. I don't agree. As I said, for me, you need someone that's had something. Like he says, Martinelli's only played there twice and Eddie shit and this, that and the other. But Smith Rowe's never played there. He doesn't know the position at all. And as I said, his runs from deep are good because they're from deep. And especially with how bad we pressed, I'd rather just Martinelli ratting about because he's just going to run around like he's on a fucking bike, just chase everything.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem, see, and this is what I'm going to use a scenario. If I'm building a house, I'm going to get a fucking builder, right? I'm not going to get the plumber to build my fucking house, and I'm not going to get the builder to do the plumbing work. And this is what's happening here: is Eddie's not he's not a number 9. So why are we getting him to be the number 9 when Martinelli?
You mean Smith Rowe?
Smith Rowe, sorry, Smith Rowe is the number 9. Like I don't get it. This is the problem I have. It's I don't know. Martinelli for me, he's more of a number 9 than Smith Rowe. Sorry, that's where I'm.
Of course, yeah. I mean, of course he is. As I said, he's only played there twice, but the other option is someone who's played there 0 times. So, and there's never shown the attributes to play there either. And this is coming from the biggest Smith Rowe fan you'll get. Like, you guys know I've been talking about him for fucking 3 years, but I would still rather Martinelli over it. I mean, the issue he has then is he would have probably meant Smith Rowe on the bench, and he wanted him on the pitch because he knows how good he is. The answer to that is fuck Odegaard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That'd be the discussion we'd be having.
Yeah.
He should have started over Odegaard. Yeah.
But then look, it's that if we lose and Odegaard's on the bench, you know what you're going to hear from Arsenal fans.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
You can't win. MAA Gunner being a bit positive here, which is great to see because I'm kind of over the negativity. If we can come back from 3-1 down to Rennes, this is more than possible, especially when we can play a stronger side next week. So,
oh, look, as I said, my happiness comes from that we're still in the tie. That is, in reality, there's nothing to be happy about that performance. But I half am because, as I said, we're a live dog next week. They're still fighting the dog, whereas
we're here.
Yeah, whereas we basically should have been a piece of meat waiting to be chewed up. Like,
mate, if we were in Roma's position, I don't think we'd even get up. Like, well, would you turn the TV on next week if we were 5-1?
Usually I'd say yeah straight away, but it's on at the same time as I've boxed, so I'm not sure. Generally, no, I would. I would, because I remember before when we lost the first leg of a game 4-0 to AC Milan, and all my mates were trying to arrange to play a football match, and I was like, no, I'm watching Arsenal. And they're like, yeah, but you're out. What does it matter? I was like, I don't care. I'm watching Arsenal, so I would still watch it.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have no expectation. We wouldn't expect to win to go through.
No, that's all right. Okay, well, that's us. We're going to wrap it up. Like I said, I just want to do a quick little podcast, talk about that game. I don't know what we'll do next week after Newcastle game, which is Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, but we'll see what news is coming about. I'm going to leave this Spotify thing and new ownership stuff. Maybe something might happen during the week as more rumours come out and things like that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, mate, that's us. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for listening, downloading. You can get us on your podcast app. Where else are we? Twitch. You can get us on Twitch. And every week I do a bit of a shout-out to somebody. So there's a couple in Germany listening to us on Spotify as well. So shout out to you guys, and thank you for everything and, supporting the show. Okay, good stuff. See you next week. Goodbye, good night, and see you later.